The site is supposed to be located on an Indian burial ground, and I believe they actually had to repel a few Indian attacks as they were building it. That's our snowcat.
Hey, hello, and welcome to my channel. As you can see from the title today, we're talking about The Shining, and in particular, we are going to discuss the many Native American themes that run through The Shining and why that is important to this film. Now, I know it's sort of well known that there are some themes about Native American peoples and their history in The Shining, but I think I found a couple things that you might not have heard of before, so let's take a look. And one of these things I found is here in the opening outdoor shots. This is when Jack is driving up to the overlook for that interview about a job. And the road he's on is called Going to the Sun Road, and it's in Glacier National Park in Montana. So filming here was done quite specifically since the other outdoor shots of the Overlook Hotel are done at the Timberline Lodge in Oregon. But these shots are in Montana, and the name Going to the Sun Road has possible Native American origins in a legend from the Blackfeet people about a deity who comes down from the sun to teach them hunting. Another possible connection is the mountain you see next to this lake in the opening shot. The mountain is actually called Little Chief Mountain. Now, you might be thinking it was named after a local tribal chief, right? But nope, it was named after this guy, Frank North, from Manhattan, New York, where I am right now. He was a military officer who was known for leading the Pawnee Scouts during the American Indian Wars in the mid 1800s. And the name Little Chief, it was apparently given to Frank by the Pawnee Scouts. Now, when Jack arrives at the Overlook, we see him walk through the lobby to get to Mr. Ullman's office. But before he gets into the office, we see Jack walk right next to this painting, The Great Earth Mother, painted by well-known Indigenous and First Nations artist Norval Morrisseau. We also see another painting by Morrisseau later called Flock of Loons. You can just see it on the left wall here as Jack goes after Danny. And notice also the bright sun in the corner of this painting, with the birds going towards it, a bit like Going to the Sun Road. Morrisseau was self-taught, often painting a mystical and sacred subject matter, and to have these striking paintings displayed fairly prominently on the Overlook Hotel walls, I think it's clearly showing the Native American themes here. Next, we see the family driving to the Overlook because Jack has gotten the job as caretaker. When they arrive, they get a tour through the Colorado Lounge, after which they are taken outside to see the hotel's famous hedge maze. It's here that Wendy asks when the hotel was built, and Mr. Ullman tells her it was finished in 1909 and that the Overlook is rumored to be built on top of an old Indian burial ground. The inference here is quite jarring that this hotel was literally built in a haunted place, because this area may be a sacred place for the native peoples. So this is an obvious link to our Native American theme. And of course, the Torrance family then meet the hotel's head chef, Mr. Hallorann, who proceeds to give Wendy and Danny a tour of the hotel's kitchen, including the walk-in freezer with the meat, as well as the storeroom, where we see Mr. Hallorann's head framed right next to a can of Calumet baking powder, which of course features the head of a native chief on it, complete with large elaborate feather headdress. This is not only another Native American reference featured very prominently in the frame, but it also hints that the character of Dick Hallorann is probably symbolizing Native peoples in this film because his head is right next to the chief's head on this can of baking powder. It is no accident. One interesting possible Native American theme actually involves what Wendy is wearing in this scene. If you look close, you can see some Western motifs on this jacket, like outdoor desert vistas. But when Wendy goes in to use the radio to speak with the Forest Service, we get a good look at the jacket, which actually has cactus on the pockets and what looks like a native teepee on the sleeves. Designed by Milena Cañonero, who also worked on Barry Lyndon and A Clockwork Orange. This jacket has obvious Native American references. Also notice the shoes Wendy is wearing here, which resemble moccasins, which were worn by the Plains Indians and First Nations people. Also, let's say one word about the look of Wendy, as played by Shelley Duvall, because her striking face and dark hair are quite different from the Wendy described in the Shining book by Stephen King, who was a blonde. So that's a deliberate change by Kubrick. We could also say a word about the native art we see in the Overlook, like this wall art in the Colorado Lounge that Jack is throwing a ball near, which seems to depict twins and possibly a reference to a Navajo legend about twins that slayed monsters. We also see a number of shots of Danny riding his three-wheeler over rugs that have native patterns on them. In this wide shot, we can get a really good look at the wall art and the patterned rugs. And notice there are native patterns on the floor we can see right next to Mr. Hallorann after he has been killed by Jack with an axe. Later, when things start going wrong and Wendy goes looking for Jack with a baseball bat, she finds that writing that Jack had been working on, but all of it says the exact same thing. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, so Jack is obviously unhinged. Wendy is totally freaked out as Jack becomes more threatening. But notice in this room, on the wall, we have a couple of mounted heads, trophies apparently, and one of them you can see here is a dead buffalo. Of course, buffalo were very important to Native American people, who would not only follow the herds to hunt them for food, but also used the hides. They used every part, wasting nothing, as they had a deep respect for the animal. And this ties into the killing, almost to extinction, of buffalo in the 1800s, known as the Great Slaughter. There were many millions of buffalo in 1870, and 20 years later, there were less than 500. This had a devastating impact on Native American people. So, to sum up, this film, literally from the first scene, gives some hints about its Native American themes. From the Little Chief Mountain, as seen from Going to the Sun Road, to the Overlook Hotel, which is actually rumored to be built over an old Indian burial ground. It's no wonder that this hotel is so haunted. But when you start to see the details, like Wendy's clothes here, as well as the beautiful paintings by First Nations artist Norval Morrisseau, it seems obvious that Kubrick has a great respect for Native peoples and is trying to say something here. Perhaps he's hinting that even the land the Overlook is built on, the national parks, in other words, such as Yosemite or Glacier National Park, were once someone else's home many years ago and was even considered sacred by the native people that lived here, but now it's just home to the haunted occupants of the Overlook Hotel. Well, that's my new video about the Native American themes in The Shining. I hope you liked it. And if you're seeing this the day I uploaded it, it's actually Native American Heritage Day here in the USA. And yesterday was Thanksgiving, so it seemed like an appropriate video to do. Also, I'm working on something for next week, and I hope to have that up soon. And I want to say thank you to my great comment section. I'm really enjoying reading all those comments, so thank you. Also, it would help my little channel if you did subscribe. But either way, my name is Shim. Thank you for spending time with me, and have a great day.